welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you the easiest and cheapest way to dye paper for junk journaling. All you're going to need is food colouring, a spray bottle, a storage tub and some water. If you wanted to coffee stain these pages, instead of using the food colouring, all you have to do is go to the shop and purchase the cheapest instant coffee that you can find. Just make sure it's a really dark roast because that means you're going to get a nice darker colour. Now to dry these papers, I'm going to show you a way that you can just leave the tub out in the sun. So my method doesn't use any ovens or hair dryers or anything that makes this more complicated than it really needs to be. So stay tuned to see my method and how easy it really is. So the first thing that you're going to have to do is gather together the papers that you're going to use. So I've got together a bunch of vintage papers. This lined paper is from an old exercise book from school. I've got some graph paper. I've got some old coffee stained envelopes that I wasn't using, doilies. I've even found some paper that was written on probably over 50 years ago now. And this one here is actually in French. So I'm going to try dyeing that as well. The papers that I have are different weights and they'll take on colour depending on what they're made of, so you just don't know how the colour's ever going to turn out. Next, you need to choose your food colouring and mix that food colouring with water in whichever ratio you like. If you want to make the colour darker, just add less water. If you want to make the colour lighter, add more water. You're also going to need some gloves and some spray bottles. I just purchased mine really cheaply from Bunnings, and a big storage tub. And then you can start spraying, and it's really as simple as it looks. So the storage tub helps to keep all that dye within the tub, and it doesn't dirty the area that you're working around. And so I'm using two colors here, blue and green, and I'm just spraying really randomly. Like I said, you just don't know how the color's going to turn out, so you might as well just have a bit of fun with it. I'm also here dyeing some envelopes. I'm chucking everything on top of each other. You really can just stack the papers up. You don't need a lot of space, and you can stack them up as high as you want. I have also got some bigger doilies that I'm going to dye. I've got some vellum paper here, which actually comes out really beautiful in the end, and some pulpy handmade paper, which takes on color really well as well. So just keep spraying, have fun with it. The vellum paper is an awesome one to dye. You'll see the color that turns out a little bit later on, but as it was sitting in there, it was really taking the color on really well. So it's fun just to experiment with all of these. Once you finish spraying your paper, it's time to let it dry. So it just so happened to be a pretty sunny morning when I did my dyeing, and I was able to leave the storage tub just out in the sun for the rest of the day to dry. If you live in a cooler climate, it's still going to work. You just have to leave that paper out for a few extra days. Make sure you wear your gloves, your hands are going to get really dirty. And at the same time, I managed to find some silk that needed dyeing, so I just chucked that in as well. I had some time to take my dog for a walk and give him a bath, and then when I returned, the paper was about 3/4 dry. But then it started raining, so I brought that tub inside and just put it in front of my little mini fan heater. I left it there for about an hour. It was pretty cold in my house, so I was happy to have the heater on. Once that paper was pretty much dry, I just added some big heavy books on top to flatten it out, and then after a couple of hours it was ready to use. And here's the finished product. So I've got a whole stack of blue dyed paper now. Some of these were already stained, so you can actually go over already stained paper to create even better effects. So this doily and this paper here was just dyed straight from plain, so straight from white. You can see that it only took on blue color. But this piece of paper here was actually pre-coffee dyed, and when I went over it with the blue and the green ink, the coffee kind of reactivated and it created these awesome patterns that you can see here. So it's all a matter of experimenting. If you dry your papers and find that the color is not what you were looking for, all you have to do is respray it. Add some different colors in. You can chuck some doilies on top of them and create patterns that way. It's really just a fun little creative activity that gives you awesome results. Be careful when you're using any paper that has writing on it. As you can see, this one here contained some beautiful handwriting, but when I added water to it, some of that ink disappeared, which for my purposes is completely fine because I'm actually using these for an ocean journal, and I think this paper looks like it was probably stuck in a message. Maybe it was a message in a bottle stuck under the sea for 100 years. But do keep that in mind if you're dyeing paper that is sentimental to you or has a message on it that you want to keep, because you may find that adding water to that paper will fade your ink. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. I tried to keep it really short because when I'm watching tutorials, I really like to have a short tutorial in front of me. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will very, very gladly give you some advice. I've been doing this for a while and I used to actually sell these packs in my Etsy store. So if you're wondering how to get a certain effect or a certain color, I probably know how to do it, so just comment below and I'll be able to help you. Otherwise, if you're watching my channel for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe. I love getting new subscribers and I also just love reading your comments as well. So let me know what you thought and let me know if you have your own little method of dyeing paper, because we all have our own ways and it's interesting to know how people are doing it. So hope you have a fantastic day and I hope to see you soon. Bye.